Thoreau were already perceiving a profound deficit in our modern ways of living. We're already seeing how we had lost our connection with the natural world. These proclamations were, of course, an early indication of what we now call nature deficit disorder. But Thoreau anticipated us in more ways than this. In addition to being one of our greatest naturalists, he was famously one of the first American proponents of the study of Eastern religion, and perhaps especially of the yoga tradition. Indeed, the great yogic scripture called the Bhagavad Gita was one of the few books Thoreau always had at his side during his 2-year pilgrimage at Walden Pond. "Even I," he wrote, as he sat on the edge of the pond at first morning light, "am a yogi." Thoreau's journey to Walden Pond was an outward and visible sign of his return to his deepest self, and he associated this journey home with his study of the Eastern classics. He identified himself with what yogis call the quest for the fully alive human being, or in Sanskrit, the Jivan Mukti. He would certainly have known that one of the very highest stages in the development of the fully alive human being is the recognition that all living beings are made of the same stuff. That is exactly how the yoga scriptures word it, the same stuff. He would have known that all of those beings in the forest and the meadow and the cornfield were made of exactly the same stuff from which he was made. He would have understood that, in knowing them, he knew himself more deeply. He would have seen himself as part of the family of nature. In this brilliant new book, Micah Mortali stands on the shoulders of Thoreau in so many ways, bringing our quest for wildness into the 21st century. He acknowledges our longing for this lost part of our oh-so-civilized selves. And then more. He gives us simple, useful, and elegant practices through which we can reclaim this lost part. In Thoreau, every exterior journey, the journey into the meadow and the forest and the cornfield, is also a journey into the beautiful internal world of the human mind, the human imagination, the human soul. What is outside is inside, and what is inside is outside. And the highest stage of this homecoming in the yoga tradition is called samadhi, which literally means bringing the world together. Micah Mortali writes in the highest tradition of both Thoreau and yoga, from which he himself springs. His book indeed brings the world together, the interior and the exterior, the civilized and the uncivilized, the human and the more than human. We are grateful for this wonderful effort. Stephen Cope, Scholar Emeritus, Kripalu Center for Yoga and Health. Introduction. Rewilding is a coming home to our roots. It is a recognition that this planet and our local environments are priceless gifts from the forces of life in our universe. To rewild is to reach out and embrace the earth. The concept of wildness, like Tarzan, is the invention of a society at odds with nature. Rewilding is a return to our essential nature. It is an attempt to reclaim something of what we were before we used words like civilized to define ourselves. We live in a time when technology dominates our lives. The internet and portable touchscreen devices have radically altered our interactions and our societies. Fewer and fewer people are connected to the source of their food or the land on which they live. This break in our relationship to nature alienates us from the generative forces of our living earth and may alienate future generations with catastrophic consequences. Indeed, it seems apparent now that the effects of this disconnection are already happening around the world. We evolved in intimate contact with the land, the seasons, and what author David Abram calls the more than human world, a term I use for nature.